and welcome to The Rest is Football with Alan Shearer, Micah Richards and me, Gary Lineker. We've got something a little bit different for you all today. To go with the start of a new season, we're going to have a quiz. That'll be in the second half. And before we do, we have to talk about, first and foremost, your Sunday evening, Micah. We missed you on the pod. What happened?
I'd like to apologise. We were supposed to do the pod around 9 o'clock. Well, I suggested to do about 9 o'clock because, as people have seen socials over the weekend, I was at Reading Festival. So just to give you a bit of context, Jolien is now become a DJ.
Jolien Lescott.
Yeah, Jolien Lescott, has now become a DJ. And his big gig was to go to Reading Festival, his first proper one. He's done one at the Ned, and this was a big one for him. And he said to me, will you come for a bit of moral support? And I was thinking, do I need to go to another festival? I went to Wireless, and you know when you say to yourself, I'm not going to drink. I know full well I've got the podcast to do later on, so I might have a couple, then I'll get myself straight home. We drive there, get there about 2 o'clock just to feel it out, iron out the nerves and all that sort of stuff. When we get there, he said the sponsor was Lyle & Scott. For those who don't know, it's like a clothing brand. When we get there, the sponsor is Jägermeister.
Jaeger bombs.
Disaster.
So I was thinking, oh man, oh wow. We go in there, and I've just got a Jägermeister and lemonade ready for me in the hand. So I'll take a little sip. But I said, nope, I've got my podcast. I'm going to be professional. So what happened was there's a few different DJs, and you guys won't know him, but there's a guy called Vicstar who's a member of the Sidemen, and he's massive. Like I'm talking, he's just become a DJ last 2.5 years. And you know what it was like for him? Everyone was there. It was rowdy and it was jam-packed. But Jolien was going on after Vicstar. So I'm thinking, ooh. As he puts his first tune, he spins his first record, I see people leaving the tent. And I'm like, I've got to intervene here. I've got to intervene. I said to Jägermeister, get me a bottle of Jägermeister right now.
Big means to the rescue.
I get a bottle of Jägermeister. I see someone in the crowd with a Man City top on and an Arsenal top on. I thought, if there's ever a time for me to go, it's now. My two teams are there. So I go from around the right, I sprint round, and I just got a Jägermeister. I was like, who wants a fucking free drink? So I go there, and then I went to the front, and then as there's a hype man, everyone's like, oh, Micah Richards in the crowd. So everyone started coming back there, and then we just had a wonderful, wonderful time. And then the crowd started coming back in. Jolien started, because he's actually a really good DJ, but he's not known as a DJ, so no one really knew what was going on. And let's just say, I read the situation. I was like a prime Makalele in there, and I got the crowd going. And yeah, apologies. What was supposed to be a casual drink supporting my friend turned out to be an absolute all-day session.
Me and Gaz were actually worried for you at one stage. We're thinking it's not like him. He's normally, when he says he's going to be here, and then we thought, we'll do the first half. He'll be here for the second half of the pod. And then the video started coming out with you walking across the floor with a bottle of Jägermeister.
You were carrying a bottle of Jägermeister and Alan was carrying his tennis trophy, Michael.
Yeah.
We had a few problems some terrible problems with the sound, my sound in the first half. I have to say, producer Harry and John managed to conjure up some magic and run it through AI. It was completely inaudible before that. It was mad. It was just going... every time I mean, I know I sound a bit bad anyway, but and then I mean, we were just thinking, well, we can't ask Alan to do the first half again because he's got to celebrate his tennis triumph, Andre Agassi there. Oh. So, but in the end, they conjured up some tech wizardry, and we managed to get it out to you slightly distorted, but not too bad.
Do you know when when you were playing, you normally used to get your pain or bit of stiffness 2 days after in your muscles or your knees.
Yeah.
This morning, oh my God, my knees, my ankles, and my back. I'm in absolute agony. Honestly, I can hardly move. I was thinking, trying to get the little short shots at the net, and oh my God, my knees are barking at me.
So I missed this though. What you was playing tennis? What, just for a tournament or
a little bit of tennis? My friend has a tennis tournament at the back. He's got huge tennis courts. Not his, but there's a tennis club at the back of his house. So he has it for about 40 pairs every year. And me and Steve Harper won it, Micah. While you were necking your Jaeger bombs and your Jägermeister, we were actually playing tennis and winning. First trophy in Newcastle for about 7 months.
Yeah, beat Andy Murray in the final. Amazing. Hell of an achievement. Well, at least you got one victory this weekend, Alan. That's cruel. We're recording this on Tuesday morning after Newcastle's game against Liverpool last night, which I have to say was one hell of a watch. And you were there. They cut you up a couple of times on the telly.
You see me crying at the end.
Oh, dearie me.
Oh, it was hard. I mean, the atmosphere was off the charts, as we knew it was going to be, because it's always spicy, Newcastle, Liverpool, and because what's going on with the Isak situation, it was always going to be a little bit more. But it was a brilliant game. I have to say, great credit to Newcastle, the players that were on the pitch in the second half. They were absolutely outstanding. And they get back to 2-2, and then the crowd, oh my God, St James's Park was bouncing. It really was. Yeah, it was a stupid challenge from Anthony Gordon. The whole world was talking about people and players need to keep their heads because of the atmosphere and everything else before the game. And that was always going to be key, whether someone was going to get a red card or not. And it was just a stupid challenge.
It's the second time he's done that now, and it's something that obviously it happened towards the end of last season, didn't it? At the moment of madness. Stupid. And it was a rash challenge. He was actually, I think, probably the best player on the pitch before that. He was flying, wasn't he?
Yeah, him and Newcastle. Liverpool couldn't get near Newcastle in terms of the energy and the passing and the pressing and everything else. And Liverpool really, really struggled. Came into it maybe last 5 or 10 minutes of the second half. And then they get the goal straight after half time to go 2-0 up, and you're thinking, oh no, here we go. But if you turned up in that second half, you'd be looking at it thinking, who's the team with 10 men here? Because Newcastle, very much like the first half, the Liverpool couldn't get out, and Newcastle were brilliant. Got back to all square, but Liverpool, I suppose that's why they're champions. Their mentality somehow find a way. And bringing the sub on, the young boy, 16-year-old, what a finish. I mean, oh my God. The finish, the build-up to it was great. Then the little over, but then, the finish, you're thinking, honestly, it was a finish of a 28-year-old in his peak, in his prime, who had been around for years. You would think that. And he just took it with such aplomb, such ease. It was a great finish, unfortunately. It was a very, very cruel way for the game to end for a Newcastle player and Newcastle fan.
Yeah, another exciting talent coming through. I mean, they've been talking about this young man for quite a while. 16 years old to come on at the last and then to do something like that. I think he got a couple of goals in pre-season. It was exciting everyone as well, Micah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that the young boy from Chelsea who I saw?
Yes.
Yes, I've actually known about him because, our manager, the Depo Trio, he's got an account called Secret Scout, and he's been posting him for a while now. And I thought, I thought he played for Chelsea, and you're looking around thinking, why is he not being given a chance with the first team? And then he goes to Liverpool, and then, I'd like to echo what Alan said in terms of the finish. Took a slight little bobble, but the composure, a lot of people in that situation might have tried to blast it, but the way he just placed it and curled it into the corner was Absolutely fantastic.
On the bright side as well, Mike, I'm sorry, Alan, but a late assist for Mo Salah, our team captain, needed to do that.
When Szoboszlai overed it, honestly, I was jumping. For joy. I've had a terrible week. It all started on Friday night when Cole Palmer
You had a terrible week? You were just seen you at Reading Festival, giving it large.
I'm hungover. I've got to work later on League of Their Own. Oh, it's all a disaster. But Mo Salah comes up trumps again. And that's the only thing with Mo Salah. Whether he has a good game or not, he gets you points. And that's
How is that an assist from Mo Salah, by the way? Come on. The assist has to go to Szoboszlai, doesn't it, for the over? Come on.
Well, have you got Szoboszlai in your
No, I haven't,
team?
but
he's the one. Spell it.
Yeah, he's the one that made it, isn't he?
Yeah.
He should get the assist, no?
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
Liverpool were really poor, though. Liverpool, you would have... I know it's very, very early, and I know they've got new players, but... defensively, they are all over the place. Kirkes had another really poor game. Salah didn't look his normal self. They couldn't get Wirtz into the game. They look. I know they got great mentality and they've won the game, and that is a huge positive for them. But there are also plenty of negatives, how they were dominated by 10 men Newcastle in the second half and the way they were beaten for Bruno's goal. Kirkes was far too weak at that far post. They've got a lot to work on, Liverpool, to get back. But the good thing is they've played 2 and won 2 without playing well.
I wanted to just mention Newcastle. If you look at the bench, you had Lewis Hall, Botman, your new signing, Chiao. Obviously, Jacob Murphy did really well last season. Willock, Ramsdale, Ramsey, and Miley. Apart from a striker, if you get a striker, now you can look at that squad and think you could chop and change.
They've got a striker, Micah.
Well, I mean, a striker who wants to be at Newcastle, let's say.
That has to be resolved in the next 3 or 4. They can't go through till next Monday again. I mean, they got Leeds on Saturday. It's just been going on and on and on. And I know the chairman was up or was in Newcastle last night. So my guess would be something has to be sorted in the next 2 or 3 days. It can't drag on until the weekend again. One way or the other, it has to be resolved. It really does.
I've got a feeling it might go to the wire, Alan. Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, I can't see Isak changing his tune. And it has to come from him unless there's a deal done. If there's a deal done, obviously it will work out before. But if it stays as like a stalemate, then it goes to the end of the window. And then if nothing happens, because he's not easy getting a transfer over the line anyway, particularly one with these complications and the amount of money involved. If they don't... well, then it will drift on to January, I guess, which is, I'm not sure, good for anyone unless Isak changes his tune when he realises he can't play for a few months. We'll have to wait and see. There's been 1 or 2 notable former players coming out, sort of defending Alexander Isak. I saw Thierry Henry. I think both of them, and Michael Owen as well, both saying about clubs don't always think about footballers in certain things. And there's quite a lot of hypocrisy here from a lot of people's statements. I don't know who they were aimed at. But the only thing I would say on that is, I said, I think we can all understand that player against the club and the club against the player sometimes happens. But the one thing I find it very difficult to agree on is that you down tools. And I think that's the one thing I would take umbrage with.
Unfortunately, you got a 3-year contract. In this situation, that's you or your agent's fault for signing such a long deal without any get-out clauses. I know football's ruthless. I know how it works. I know when a club wants to get rid of you as a player, you can. But they're also, that club are paying you. The club are paying you for your services, and you've got 3 years left. And there's a way of doing things. Look at how Ez has conducted himself at Crystal Palace. Totally different, I know, I get. Look how gay he's handling himself at Crystal Palace with a very difficult situation. He's got 1 year left, but Alexander Isak's got 3 years left of a 6-year deal he signed, him and his agent. So that's where it's very different.
I think both can be right. I think Michael Owen made a good point, and so did Thierry Henry, because... Yeah. And I said it on the pod the other day when I was at Villa, the situation, how I was treated. But when it comes to it, Alan's completely right. You can't down tools. You can't just not turn up for work. And I was waiting to have an opinion on it because I said I don't know the full story. And if he wants to go, a player should be allowed to leave as long as the club gives him the blessing. The only sort of problem we have with it is you can't not turn up for training. It's as simple as that.
Absolutely. Anyway, back to the game. Do you think the presence of Florian Wirtz and the slightly different style that he gives, that he plays, because he's more of a 10, isn't he? And he likes to play in that role, has caused Liverpool a few early issues. I mean, they've got 6 points, so it's not massive issues at present, but it's made them look slightly unbalanced to where they were last season.
Definitely, yeah. I saw them obviously against Bournemouth on TV. And it's, you know what it's like when you're watching a game on television rather than watching one live. So to see them live last night, without doubt, yeah, their rhythm is nowhere near what it was when they were playing really well last season. They're finding it difficult to get him into the game. They're certainly more open. They certainly have got a weakness in terms of judging by last night in set pieces. And I know Newcastle are tough, particularly with the strength and the height of Dan Burn. But also, they're weak down the sides. I mean, Szoboszlai, I thought, who did a really good job at right back. But on the other side, Kirkes doesn't look up to speed at this minute. And Salah, you're not seeing the best of Mo Salah yet. I mean, I know he set up the goal last night, but other than that, he did very, very little in the game.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Wirtz have come good. I think he's just used to playing a different style of football. I think it is a bit physical in this league, and they're still figuring out how they want to play. You know, Liverpool have signed a lot of players, haven't they? Same with Frimpong in the first game, who picked up an injury. The balance of the team is not right at the moment, but they're still winning. I'd echo probably Kirkes. Kirkes is the one I thought would come in, having played Premier League football before and was so good for Bournemouth up and down. But he just looks like he's trying a little bit too hard at this moment. He's going into challenges all or nothing. He's leaving space behind him. And yeah, I think it's a problem that they will fix, but they need to fix it fast. And Alan said they won 2 out of 2. So if you can play like that and still win, that's the most important to Liverpool.
Conceded 4 goals in their opening 2 games, but managed to, they've scored 7. So it's not horrendous. That's for sure. I see Newcastle were linked with Strand Larsen. I think turned down a bit of 50 million.
She's gone up another 10 million after Gordon missing the next 3 games with suspension as well. So I haven't seen a great amount of him, but I obviously saw him last season. But that's a lot of money. But unfortunately, the situation Newcastle are in, they're going to get stung, whoever they're going for.
I'd like to say, though, I was impressed with Osula when he came on. I thought he worked so hard, and typical me, I put something in the group. You lot guys didn't see it. I put Osula's goal record in just as he scored. And I deleted it before anyone could see.
Oh, that's what that deleted.
Yeah, I was wondering what that was.
Good on you for actually... I was thinking, what's Micah deleting? I thought, has he not gone to another festival? Has he got...
I thought he must be still pissed.
No, my point was that I thought he was doing well, but his goal record wasn't that great. And I know he's still only a young lad, but then when as I sent the text in the group, he scored a goal. I thought, what?
Harry saw it. Harry saw it, Micah, he said. He spotted it.
I think he's very raw, Micah. I think he's still learning, still sort of getting used to the pace and what have you. But I think because of the situation now with Anthony Gordon missing 3 games, he's probably going to have to play or start on Saturday against Leeds, and that'll be a good opportunity for him. But still plenty to learn. But you can't ever fault his attitude. I think he'll give as good as he's got, and he'll make it difficult for defenders. But still got work to do.
And that is it for this episode of The Rest Is Football. So goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.